Hi everybody, my name is Sharon. I'm a follower of Christ, and this is a very spontaneous video, by the way. I did not plan this at all, and it's just something that I feel very compelled to share with. I'm currently, as of yesterday, I've been Bible studying the book of Ruth, and I have done chapter 1 so far, and it's very eye-opening, and I feel moved to share this with you. It has helped me tremendously. It has opened my eyes so much, and I know that there's many of you who really need this word. So to begin with, Ruth is a Moabite. She was a daughter-in-law for Naomi. Keep in mind that Naomi comes from the land of Judah, and she came with her husband and her 2 kids to dwell in the land of Moab. Now, Moab, as I was doing my Bible study, I looked into the significance of Moab, and it says that they were a pagan nation, a nation who idolized many gods, who were very hostile to the people of God, to the Israelites, and just enemies of God. And so I kept on reading, and Naomi loses her husband, her 2 kids, and all that she has left is her 2 daughters-in-law, one of them being Ruth. And what really stood out the most to me is, let me read it for you. On verse 6, when it says, "When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah." Now, Judah, I looked into the meaning of Judah, because when I do my Bible study, I don't know if you do as well, I look into the nitty and gritty, and I try to look and see the significance and the meaning, because it's not just by coincidence that it's stated in the Bible, but it has a meaning. And Judah means praise. And not only that, but Naomi heard. She heard from a distance, from where she was in Moab, the way that God was working in his children, the way that he provided food for them. It made Naomi be so compelled and moved to the point where she was determined to leave everything behind, even her daughters-in-law. She blessed them, and she was like, "I'm leaving. May God bless you. May God have mercy on you, and may you marry well, and may it find you rest. But I'm leaving, and I'm going to return back to the place where I was in the first place." Which is really telling of the characteristic of Naomi, of how moved she is, and how determined, how she realized that she wants God. And let me read what I wrote here, because I was reading, and I found in one of the commentaries, and it said, Our life with God should make others want to come back to the Lord just by looking at our life. Our walk with the Lord should be something that makes others say, I want some of that also. Many will hear of the good things God is doing in the lives of others and only wish they could have some of it instead of setting out to receive. Now, both Ruth and Naomi, they heard of this and they were so determined because, regardless of Naomi telling Ruth, stay, Naomi noticed how insisting Ruth was and how she was like, hey, I will let go of my gods and of everything that is of this land, the only land that I know, and I'm going to serve your God. It's so beautiful when people notice God's work in our lives. And I just really encourage you that to challenge yourself and to go beyond your comfort zone to seek the face of God, to get to know your Creator. Look at Naomi in the way how she just let go of everything so easily, and how humbly, how humble she was to return back to the land of Judah. Both Naomi or Ruth, they didn't know exactly how people were going to react to their arrival. They didn't have any clue, no second guesses, nothing. And considering how far Moab was from Judah, like that distance, they had to go through a whole journey just to get there. I mean, that's determination. And another thing that I got from the commentary is that some are content with feeling Christian feelings, with feeling a love for God, with feeling a love for the Word of God, with feeling a love for His people. But what would you do? It's like a call of action of truly pushing through our boundaries and our state of complacency and to challenge our faith. Naomi and Ruth had faith because they went blindly and just heading out to the wilderness and heading out to the land, to the promised land, without expecting anything. And then Isaac kept on reading towards like the end when they arrived. I see Naomi's humbleness, humility, how when she arrived to Bethlehem, she didn't lie about her state. She didn't lie anything about, she was fully aware of her actions. And, considering Naomi giving her sons to the Moabites when God commanded His people not to get any involvement with the world or pagans, she acknowledged, her actions, and she recognized that all of her actions had led to this affliction. She didn't come in pride or anything. She acknowledged it before the people when the people started questioning, can this be Naomi? But something I really want to state, and like the whole point of this is on verse 22. So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. So Bethlehem, if you don't know, that's the birthplace of Jesus. Again, symbolic, because little did Ruth would know that She will be coming from, that Jesus will come from her lineage, her descendant, descendant of Ruth. And not only that, but the barley harvest. I was reading into this and I looked into what was the significance of barley harvest, and what came up was that it symbolizes redemption and transformation. And not only that, but barley in itself is a very important grain that goes through several stages. The grain is crushed, and eventually the inedible seed casing, so that protection, that shell of that seed, would be blown away in the wind until the precious grain would fall to the ground. And this harvest would take place around spring. And we usually associate spring with, the flowers, the coming out, blooming, everything starts to bloom. A season of growth, right? Of things just starting to come out, and summer soon approaching, and it's just such a beautiful season. And that just really stood out to me because God works with such dedication and perfection. He does things so perfectly, and everything is truly with a meaning. Nothing happens by coincidence. It's not by coincidence that Naomi and Ruth arrived at Bethlehem. It's not a coincidence that they came during the barley harvest. It's nothing is by coincidence. Everything happens with a purpose. And God does this marvelous work with dedication, and he's so detailed. Like he's so like into the details of our lives. He cares so much for our lives that he cares for the details in our lives. He cared for the season of Ruth and Naomi arriving at Bethlehem. And something that I wrote underneath it was that Naomi was found in the right place at the right time. And that I wrote that because it's something that I'm going through, that I am in this season of waiting, that some of you may be going through, that we're so impatient. We're like, oh, come on, God, hurry up. But God is working behind the scenes, and he is just waiting. He's just working, and we're just like waiting. We're waiting for you, God. But I really do hope that this gives you faith, that this strengthens your faith, because it has definitely strengthened my faith in knowing that God is working in the scenes, behind the scenes, that he is working in the details, that he is working, that he has not forsaken us, that he has not forgotten about us, no matter how far and how distant we may be, no matter the state where we are, that he cares so much, as long as we are willing to be the change, to do the change, to work in that action, to, truly challenge ourselves and to have faith, to grow deeper with our Creator, because he has given us that free will. We should use that free will for our good, for the good. it's that boldness that we need, and that we should pray for, is to have that boldness like Naomi and Ruth had, of leaving, our fears, leaving our fear of being rejected by God, leaving that fear of what does God think of me, that guilt and that shame, leaving that and being bold to say, Lord, here I am. I acknowledge my faults. I acknowledge my mistakes and my actions, and I acknowledge that this lifestyle I've been living is not correct. It's not righteous. It's not what you have called me to do, Lord. Have mercy of me and help me to rededicate my life for you. To humble yourself, that humility and that willingness to go after our Creator, to go after His arms. And God is so willing to receive us. He receives us with arms wide open. And He's just waiting there for us. He's always been there. So I hope this message really moved you to seek after God and helped you strengthen your faith. And yeah. Again, I don't know when I will create another video. I don't know, but I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and may God bless you, may God strengthen you, and may He guide your life and give you that love for Him, because it's only that, we just really need to seek that love and that passion for God. So God bless you all. Bye.